I'm Springtrap.
You know, it's weird. Sly Cooper is one of my favorite video game franchises, yet I still haven't talked about it enough. So why not make a list about the bad things about it first? Missions in the Sly series can be really fun. But then you have those missions, you know, the ones that make you throw down the controller and find another reason to blame Sanzaru for making Sonic Boom shatter childhood.
I mean, the game was fun for about a couple minutes.
The missions can be boring, hard, or just plain unfair. Also, these are my least favorite missions, not the worst. If you happen to like any of these missions, that's perfectly fine, even though there are a lot of things wrong with you. With all that said, let's make multi-genre and the Earthquake 1001 very mad. Vehicle sections haven't always been gaming's biggest milestone. They tend to be uninteresting or totally unfair. And Sly Cooper has a lot of those sections. Some can be fun for a couple minutes, but then you have treasure in the depths. In order to get the treasure key, you need to shoot 40 treasure chests before crabs can steal them. And there's the first problem. You're in a submarine and the key is right there! How can you not reach it? It's video game logic, don't question it. The crabs are another problem too. There are always so many of them swarming around you, it can get really annoying, and that's what this mission is, annoying. But unfortunately, there are way worse missions on here than this one. Sly 2 is considered by many to be the best in the series. While I may not think that anymore, I can definitely see why people think it's so good. One of the things Sly 2 did differently was adding huge overworlds instead of just platforming sections. But this presents a problem that people seem to overlook. I'll talk about more later, but for now, the water bug run. Bentley tells you that in order to bug the villain Rajan's office, you need to have an actual bug in his office, but this bug is a water bug. And if it stays out of water for too long, it'll get irritated and will start making noise. So you need to place it in pools scattered around the map to calm it down as you make your way to the office. However, the pools are spaced way too far apart, and on top of that, you have no idea where they are. So you need to go exploring, which will get the bug irritated, which will get the guard's attention, which will... The overworld problem in the Sly series is that when you're doing escort missions or fetch quests, it can take a long time to do so because the overworlds are so big. I have nothing against games with big overworlds, but sometimes they can get kind of irritating. Thus, we go to Thieves in Time and Starving Hippo. In this mission, 5 penguins have eaten 5 pieces of the Gravidian Cabulator. That's as good as I'm gonna pronounce it, isn't it? So you need to chase them down and force them to throw up the parts.
Okay, this mission just got really gross.
The problem with this? These little penguin pests are really fast, so while you're forcing one of them to blow chunks, they're all running to the other side of the map. And get this, Clan of the Caves Raccoons map is pretty big, so it takes forever just to get to them. Have a good trip! Just like with vehicle sections, water levels have also gotten a bad rap. They usually tend to break from the normal pace of the game and just become slow messes. The Dark Current from Sly 3 is one of those slow pace breakers. The first Dimitri scuba mission was kind of slow and clunky, but at least it didn't have a time limit and you could take your time. In this mission, however, you need to be on your toe. In this mission, you need to chase down the Cooper family cane before it gets away. However, there are these claw things that try to stop you, so you need to use the buttons on your controller to avoid them. It's like the Sly Cooper version of Ape Escape. Wait, I already made that joke. Given the slow swimming movements, you're not going to have the best time on this part. And at the end, there's a crappy boss battle. Yay! Have you heard of the Touhou Project? You know, that shooter game series that's famous for basically being a huge pain? Well, Sly Cooper has its own version in the form of a ghastly voyage. In this mission, you're piloting some sort of turret device
I actually don't know the name.
into a deep swamp while fighting off some cat ghosts and these flaming bird heads.
I don't know.
The problem here is that there are so many of them. Everywhere you go, there are paranormal pains out for your soul. Also, given the one-hit kill in the first game, you'll likely die a lot. Can we move on, please? One of the new features in Sly 3 is that you can play as other characters besides the Cooper gang. One of them is the Bandit King, who's one of the villains of the first game. Most of the times you play as him are really fun, but then you have Tearful Reunion. Tearful Reunion is probably the most misleading name for anything in the PlayStation 2 era, even though you're probably going to shed some tears just for how bad it is. In the previous game, Sly 2, Murray loses the van. Now it's back all the way from Canada, and now it's in China. Because reasons. Now you have to get it back to the Cooper base while avoiding guards. Sounds easy until you actually play the mission. In the first part, you play as Penelope trying to bring the van to shore. Once you do, Murray will punch off the ice on it and will start to drag it back. Now you gotta protect him, which is really difficult, as just like the previous mission, there are so many guards. The final part involves the Panda King using a turret to shoot out guards. Oh, and you can hurt Murray. Great. A lot of missions in Sly 3 involve protecting something or someone for some reason. Maybe it's because the developers drank too many Coke Zeros or something, I don't know. And what do you know? The worst mission in Sly 3 is one of those missions. Cooper in your defense is all types of annoying. It begins with Mugshot trying to sabotage your airplane as sort of revenge on what happened in the first game. It's pretty simple, but it's the second part where it gets hard. Now enemies are coming from underground, so now you gotta use traps Bentley made to stop them. This is very hard as you gotta switch between the two cameras where you can use the trap constantly. Also, when you use one of the traps, it won't be usable for a short time, meaning more bad guys could come in to wreck your plane. The final phase involves an aerial attack with Penelope trying to rope some guys away from the hangar. Oh, and they have tanks. Wait, what? As I said in the Sly 2 review, the tank section in this game is pretty crap, and what do you know, it ended up on here. Tank Showdown is like War Thunder if War Thunder sucked and was about hippos. To loosen the chances of you losing to the Contessa, you need to get inside a tank and start firing at some local tanks. The problem with this mission is the problem with tanks in video games in general. They are super slow! Not only that, but it's kind of hard to control the thing. The left analog stick will only move the left tread, and the right analog stick will move the right one, so it's hard to just move around. Finally, if you shoot one of the tanks, or if they just see you, they will shoot you down. This sucks because, again, given the slowness of the tank you're in, you could die instantly. What makes this worse is that you drive this tank twice. Thank goodness number 1 is only just a couple entries away. Wow, another mission from Sly 2. Look, this game is really fantastic, guys, but it's far from flawless. The graphics can be sometimes gloomy, the interactions between the Cooper gang were handled rather poorly, and has one of the worst fetch quests in gaming history. The charged TNT Run has got to be the worst mission in Sly 2. The TNT barrel is a part of Sly 2 that I just can't stand doing. You gotta sneak around guards with it, and if you jump out of it, it explodes and you have to start all over again. In this case, you need to blow up an engine. However, the engine is too big for a puny little barrel, so you need to collect fuses that will make the barrel stronger. These fuses are set up all over the place and are way too far apart, however. Not only that, but when you collect all of them, you have to walk halfway across the map to get to the engine. And since you're on a blip and you can't jump, expect a falling death. Gosh, I hate this mission. And wait, it's not number 1? What could be worse? Sly 1 may have been a decent start to the series, but again, it's the first in the series. The game has a ton of flaws, and one of them happens to be number 1. It's a mission so bad and so unfair that it literally makes me cringe. Okay, that may have been an exaggeration, but it's still really at the dog track. Oh boy, where do I even begin? Let's start with the fact that this is the first time in the series where you drive the Cooper van.
Bad start.
Not only is it a bad start to the franchise's form of transportation, but it's nearly impossible to control. Its movements are so sensitive that if you just hit a wall, the van will go berserk. Also, to make the van go faster, you have these gas things scattered around the track, but given the sensitivity of the controls, you'll be crashing all over the place faster than you can say, I think I need a GameCube. This mission is just atrocious. To end on a humorous note, the goal of the mission is to get a treasure key from some docks.
Why don't you just steal it? I'm the Papa's kid, and Sly 5 better have some good missions. That is, if they ever make Sly 5.